Hello and welcome back to our news channel, students. Today we are going to talk about two news articles. So, in the first news, we are diving deep into the forest canopies of the Western Ghats and then launching into space. Yes, you heard that right. So, this episode has two news articles. One about a rare monkey and what its behavior tell us about forest conservation, and the other about how internet from the satellites is it might soon reach even remotest corners of India, and thanks to the SpaceX Starlink project, right? So buckle up because we are going on an exciting journey. Now, students, let's talk about one simple question. Discuss. What if I told you that just protecting a forest might not be enough to save an endangered animal? Now, this sounds strange, right? But that's exactly uh, what a new study from the Central Center for Wildlife Studies, India, in Bangalore is saying. And the animal at the center of this research is this one, lion tailed macaque. Okay, and this is a rare monkey. Okay, lion tailed macaque is a rare monkey and it is found only in Western Ghats of India. Okay, so this is what you can say endemic species. Endemic, which is endemic का मतलब क्या होता है? Which is found only in that particular place. Similarly, we also have Malabar civet. Malabar civet. Okay, so these are the kind of species that are found only in that small region. Okay, so let's just talk about this monkey. Lion-tailed macaque, as you can see from the picture, it has a fluffy silver mane, right? And like a silver mane around its face, like a lion's, right? And hence it has this name. Okay, lion-tailed macaque. Now it's super agile and spends most of its life high up in the trees. And it's what scientists call an arboreal species. Arboreal. Okay. Unfortunately, there are fewer than 4,000, fewer than 4,000 lion-tailed macaques left in the wild. So the researchers, they wanted to understand how these monkeys live and how they move, survive, especially since the forest in Western Ghats are now getting chopped up due to roads, farms, and buildings. Where are Western Ghats located? Yes, Western Ghats. See, this is India. I'm just drawing a rough diagram. So these mountain ranges that you can find along the western coast of India are Western Ghats, and then in on the eastern coast we have Eastern Ghats. Okay, so lion-tailed macaque, they are found on the Western Ghats of this region. Okay, and researchers, uh, what they did to research, they basically studied two groups. Okay, one inside the protected Silent Valley National Park in Palakkad, Kerala, and the other just outside in the buffer zone, matlab areas that are not fully protected. So the scientists also use GPS collar. Okay, they use GPS collars and they movement modeling, and they also matlab they basically use some cool stuff, high tech stuff. Okay, so think of it as like putting a Fitbit on a monkey and seeing how it moves around the jungle in 3D. So that's how researchers they observe these two groups. And what they found? These monkeys are incredibly smart. They don't just stay in high trees, they also use the forest floor even in well protected areas. Okay, so earlier scientists thought they only did this when forests were badly damaged. But nope, turns out they are exploring all vertical levels, like using the ground floor, first floor, and attic of a house. Okay, so this shows that they are very flexible and their movement are not just random, they are actually planned. They balance food, safety, and energy. And this flexibility is key to surviving human threats, right? So, what does this teach us? Students, it teaches us that forest conservation isn't just about fencing off a piece of land and leaving it alone. We need to preserve some things like continuous canopy cover so that monkeys can move tree to tree, understanding how they use uh, you know the surface, middle and top of forest. And we also need to understand and manage that both protected and buffer zones are important for these monkeys, even for the other endangered species. Okay, so the key message is that our animals aren't statues in forest. They move, they adapt and think. So we need dynamic conservation strategies that match their behavior. ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई फिक्स मॉडल है जो हर एक जगह अप्लाई कर दो. No, we need dynamic conservation strategies, right? Now students, let's go to the next article of the day. Imagine students, you are in a remote village in mountains. There's no cell tower, no broadband cable. Yet your phone gets high-speed internet. How? How is this possible? It's possible from space. That's what Starlink, a company owned by billionaire Elon Musk, is aiming to do. And the Indian government just said, yes, you can go ahead with it. Okay. So Starlink is a project by SpaceX. Okay. It's a project by SpaceX, Elon Musk rocket company. And it uses satellites, very tiny ones, but thousands of them in space to beam internet to Earth. So as of now, there are around, yes, there are around 7,000 satellites in orbit. Okay. And that's the largest satellite internet network in the world. Okay, so Starlink has been trying for nearly 3 years to, get clearance from Indian government to start in India, and now it's got the green light. So it has received, approval from the government to begin operations. That means soon satellite-based internet could be available, especially in rural and remote parts of India. Now, why is this big news? Say, students, this technology is different from your usual Wi Fi. Most internet today comes through from where? Yes, from fiber optics. Yes, it comes from fiber optics. It also comes from cell towers, है ना? Cell towers जो आप data use करते हो. Or it can also come from broadband DSL lines. But satellite internet, it beams signal directly from space to your home using a sort of dish antenna. So it's like TV satellite dishes, but for the internet. Right now, this technology, although is good, especially for the people who are living in a remote area, right? But it also has certain benefits and challenges. बेनिफिट क्या है हमें पता है रिमोट एरिया में जैसे माउंटेन हो गया डेजर्ट हो गया आइलैंड हो गया वहां पर इस आराम से पहुंच जाएगा एंड इट वर्क्स इवन इफ टावर्स और केबल्स आर डैमेज कई बार क्या होता है आपने सुना होगा कि बहुत तेज स्टॉर्म आया है तो इंटरनेट नहीं चल रहा है so this can work even if towers or cables are damaged, and it can also support disaster zones or military bases. But there are also certain challenges. Challenges क्या है कि ये थोड़ा सा expensive है. Okay, it is expensive, and mostly for wealthier families at the start. तो शुरू में तो सिर्फ wealthier families ही इसको afford कर पाएंगी. Okay. And it also needs local manufacturing and regulation to stay secure. That's why India's Department of Telecommunication, uh, they gave approval with certain conditions that Starlink must, first of all, must manufacture some parts. कुछ तो parts इंडिया को बनाने पड़ेंगे इंडिया में रह के. Okay, they need to manufacture, they need to form some parts in India related to what Starlink project. And they also need to use Navik. What is Navik? India's GPS alternative. Like we use GPS for navigation, right? So GPS is not our own indigenous technology. Okay, but Navik is indigenous technology, so it's a sort of GPS alternative. So Starlink, they need to use Navik, and they also need to ensure that user data doesn't go outside India, because that is very, very important. And a data localization, we always talk about data localization. And then company also need to set up monitoring to avoid any misuse, right? So our prime minister even told Elon Musk last year to discuss technology partnerships. Okay, so with the two telephone companies that mobile network companies that we have, Geo and Airtel, to bring this service to customers. Okay, so as students and future citizens, it's vital to understand how the internet works and how it's changing, because this move could, reduce the rural urban digital divide. Digital divide. Okay, now it's your homework to find out what is digital divide, and you're going to tell me on the comments below. Okay, digital divide. And it will also help students in remote areas attend online classes. And similarly, it can also help businessmen like entrepreneurs chance to build from anywhere. Okay, so students, from monkeys navigating forest floors to satellites navigating space to deliver data, it's all about how we move, connect, and adapt. So the future is already here, and it's 3D, high speed, and highly interconnected. Okay, so that's all for today's special episode, students. We hope you learned something new, from tree hopping macaques to sky flying satellites. Remember, students, conservation and technology both demand innovation, understanding, and action. So think about it. Okay? So, students, see you in the next episode. Till then, stay curious, stay kind, and keep exploring the world one story at a time. Bye bye.